My name is Sean Huggins. I'm a 32-year-old self-taught programmer, and this is the story of how I became a developer. Welcome to Ctrl+R. So in the last video, I made a dice rolling game with JavaScript, and today we are back working on the JavaScript challenge website. This is going to be a static blog type of site where I can post beginner JavaScript challenges and then reveal the solution or one solution to the challenge at the click of a button. Super basic, but let me show you what I got so far. All right, so here's the site so far. Super basic. This morning I added a bunch of challenges, so there's like 9 or 10 of them now. And basically you have the challenges numbered here, the name of the challenge, obviously the description of the challenge, and then if you click the solution button, it displays one possible solution for the challenge. Now, obviously there's a million different ways to solve stuff like this. So this is just one solution for each challenge. This is just my solution actually for each challenge. It's not the only solution. Definitely, I would say probably not the best, most optimal solution. It's just I was already doing all these challenges, so I just took the first solution that I had and I put it on this website. Anyways, let's get back to it. So all of the challenges work. When you press the solution button, it displays it. When you press it again, it hides it, so you can kind of test yourself if you're using this site, I guess, to study or something. So it works. Like, the website works, which, you know, that's the whole point, is for it to work. So that's great, right? Well, it turns out, I don't know. My code is very sloppy, let's say. I'm actually kind of embarrassed to show it on the internet because I know that is bad. Like, I already know that it's bad, and it's just not the best way of doing it. It's just the first way that I got the code to work the way that I wanted it to. But it's actually kind of, I'm a little self-conscious about it. But this series is all about transparency, and I gotta be honest with you guys. So I'm just gonna show you what I did to make this site work. All right, so here's the HTML. I'm using Grid to lay out the site, more on that later. And I'm using line breaks to actually get the desired formatting for the actual text itself, which, again, probably not great, but it works. And then here's the CSS, just basic CSS, nothing crazy. Definitely not the cleanest, but also not the absolute worst. But then the JavaScript. The JavaScript, along with the HTML, is actually why I'm embarrassed to show my code. But again, that's the whole purpose of this series. So here it is. Yeah. Every function here correlates to a button on the page. And in my mind, logically, that can't be the best way of doing that. I know that there has to be a million better ways of doing that. But for every different solution on the page, I made a new function, and that's just the first way that I got it to work the way that I intended it to. Now, keep in mind, this is my third website and my first website using JavaScript, actually. So it's far from pretty, it's far from perfect, but it works. So I know that is bad, but I have to keep it real with you guys in these videos. So I'm hoping that I can look back a week, a month, a year, 10 years from now and see the code, see the way that I was programming and think, wow, look how far that I've come since this moment. And maybe some of you guys watching this can do the same. Anyways, today I have a few things that I want to do. So let's start with changing the fonts of the page. I don't like the fonts, and I really don't like how the ones look exactly like L's. So let's go on Google Font and pick some better ones. Okay, I like this one. And this one. And let's grab something a little bit different. Let's try this. Let's add them to the HTML and refresh. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. Now you can actually see the number one properly. I also found this site CSS Scan, and it has a bunch of inspiration for different buttons, and you can just click it and copy and paste it and refresh. Wow, and look at this, beautiful buttons. Ooh, so pretty. All right, I would describe myself as happy enough with this project for now. I see a lot of ways where it can be improved. I can already see a ton of cool features that I could add to it and all kinds of other stuff, but it does what I initially set out for it to do. So let's publish it to GitHub Pages. And that'll be linked in the description as always if you want to check it out yourself. Now let's talk about what's next. I'm really excited to learn and work with CSS frameworks, specifically Bootstrap and Tailwind, but I'm trying my absolute hardest not to get ahead of myself and use just pure CSS, at least for my first few projects. That being said, let's talk about what's next. So if you're following this series, you'll know that I'm taking a course on Udemy, but I'm also doing my own side projects, which is what today's site was. Well, the next side project is something that I thought about doing many times in my life, and that is a coffee shop or a cafe, or more specifically, I guess, making a website for a fictitious coffee shop or cafe. And if you remember earlier, I said for our last site, I used Grid to lay out the web page. I made 3 sites now using primarily Grid to lay them out, but that's because I'm not at all comfortable with Flexbox for some reason. So that's what we're going to be doing coming up, making a website for a cafe focusing primarily on Flexbox. So that means it's time to steer into the storm and make a cafe website focusing primarily on using Flexbox. So that's what we'll be doing coming up, inventing a cafe or a coffee brand, building out a little website for it, and like I said, focusing primarily on Flexbox. But for today, that's all the time that I have. So I'll see you guys next time. Peace.